Hola mi gente, Joe Barreto back with you at the Credit Card Connection. I'm glad you can join me. Today I have a special guest. I have one of the co-hosts of the nationally renowned Pick a Side podcast with over 50,000 subscribers on YouTube and 250,000 on TikTok. This is Andrew Velez, who also happens to be my nephew. And today we're going to talk about what's in Pick a Side's pocket, or wallet in this case. And we're going to see, because Andy's 24 years old. This is his main job, his main source of income. We're going to go through the credit cards he has in his wallet and why he has them. And maybe what else he's going to be using in the future. Because, this year you've gotten how many already?
Yeah, 2 more cards added to my collection.
Okay, 2 more. All right. And we're going to go over why.
But for one reason and one reason only. And we know that reason.
What's the reason, Andy?
It's because I got the credit card connection right here. That's gotta be it.
I didn't pay him to plug me, just understand that, all right?
Not at all.
We're going to go to dinner later, right?
On you?
Yeah, on me, of course. I got the cards for it, bud. I got the cards. All right. So let's jump into it. By the way, before we do jump into it, if you like anything you see or just find this entertaining, do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. And on the comments down below, I'm going to leave a link to his YouTube channel so you can subscribe there. It is always, you guys record what, almost every day?
We record 2 full-length podcasts a week, and then we have other side shows that we do within the channel as well. So it gets to almost 6 times a week.
So that's a hustle and a grind. So I'm going to leave all that information down in the description box below as well. So let's jump into it.
Let's do it.
All right, Andy. So your first credit card was what?
So it was my Wells Fargo Platinum card. Now, I treat this like my baby, and I say that because it got me through some tough times during school. Whenever I needed just a quick purchase, I'd pull out this one right here, make sure let's not expose it too much. But yeah, that's the one that I've been using. So yeah, whenever I was in a pinch, whenever I needed just a spot, that was the card I would always go to.
Okay, why Wells Fargo? How did you end up with that?
So very easily, it was connected to my debit card, so it was easy for me to make payments towards it. It was in the same account, same app for me, so it always was pretty seamless to make those transactions.
Now, I'm going to ask this question. It's personal, but because I always tell everybody about sometimes we get caught in a pinch, like you were just saying. Sometimes you need to use a card or carry a balance. Have you done that with this card in particular?
In which way? I'm sorry.
Like in terms of spend, in terms of carrying. Let's say you spent $500.
No. Absolutely. There's definitely was a time where I needed this one and I just didn't think twice about it. I said, that'll be next month's worry. Yeah, I definitely had it with this card. And
was that when you were in college, or was that when...
Specifically college.
For college, okay. So since you've been doing the podcast and getting the sponsors and everything else and getting paid, has that changed?
Yeah, this card's been getting used significantly less since, thank God.
Okay. So would you tell people out there at your age, in your early 20s, that this was Wells Fargo was a good pick? Because people, I'm going to be honest with you, people crap all over Wells Fargo.
No, understandable. If I had the knowledge that I do now that I have the credit card connection, no, I definitely wouldn't have made this my first choice, especially given the amount of credit that I was given. At first, it was only $2,500 at the time. You're a young kid. That's fine to have that little restriction on you. But then it went up in credit to $4,000. But then immediately when I signed up for this other card that we're going to speak about a little bit later, my credit line was $6,000 more than what I'm allowed with this one, even still.
Okay. So you guys see, again, people do kind of get on Wells Fargo about, what they offer. They are getting better. They have the autograph card that's coming out.
Yep.
They have a lot of other cards for a range of people that need it for different things. So at least we know this is your oldest card now.
Correct.
Now, you did say something before we even started recording. You would keep that card?
To the day I die.
To the day you die.
Because it got me through some tough times. I'm a big sentimental guy when it comes to stuff like that.
Fair enough. All right, fair enough. So, you see, it's also smart that he's doing that because that's his oldest card.
Yep.
And we always say you want to keep your oldest card, especially that one has no annual fee.
Yep.
So, you could throw it in a sock drawer, keep it there till you need to use it again. And just keep that history going. You don't want to close that one out. So, all right, let's move on to the second card. Now, the second card was cool because, I started doing a lot of those recordings and really getting into this space in winter. So February was my first video up there.
Yep.
And spring I started hitting you hard, and we were talking one day because of the success of his show. He needed to kind of expand and kind of get cards that are going to offer him a little bit more in terms of perks, a little bit more in terms of just benefits, let's say.
Yep.
And the next card that you got that we signed you up for in the spring was
the Blue Cash Everyday American Express.
Now, what did you like about that?
My credit limit was a lot more. It allowed me a little bit more freedom to make bigger purchases if need be. I do get cash back also on this card as well. So definitely it's the freedom that this card allows me on top of more so anything else.
Now, do you ever spend on that card for certain multipliers, like certain categories of the cash back? Are there things that you use that you've seen, or you just use it?
Yeah, that's really, I just use it where if I am making a bigger purchase just because of the cash back that I am getting, that's really what it becomes. Because I remember you telling me a while ago that if I spent $2,000 in the first 6 months, I get some sort of percentage. Off the top of my head, it's not sticking with me. But I just remember making sure that was what I did.
Okay, and then that one does come with cashback categories of 6%, I believe,
Correct.
on dining and on other purchases, streaming and things like that.
Yeah, and especially with me, someone who loves to eat out, this card definitely has some good times.
So, now, why Amex and not any other bank, let's say, or any other?
Well, I mean, outside of the fact of you recommending me American Express, and that's really what it comes down to. You feel as if American Express is your most trusted, or at least that's the way that you've allowed me to feel at this point, that I would rather keep it within this line of card.
So that you know, I always say, everybody says I'm an American Express fanboy. But I guess my nephew's gonna, just pile on with that one, and yeah, because you can imagine what the next card is gonna be when we bring it up.
Yeah, correct.
Correct. But I just actually included the Blue Cash every day in the last video I posted, because it's a great card for cashback. It's a great card to use now for this time of the season, for the holiday season on spend. You're going to get a heck of a lot back in terms of that. And especially if you have it hooked up, let's say, to Amazon, and you have it hooked up to your, to any of the Target or whatever else you're going to go shop.
Yep.
It's a great catch-all, no annual fee card.
Yep.
And when you're 24, why should you really be just spending hundreds, or in my case, thousands of dollars on?
And also, you told me it was 15 months interest-free. That also boded very well with me as well, where I still make my payments on time. I haven't had a late fee. So that's really what it is also. That 15 months of interest-free was one of the bigger reasons why.
And remember what I said, sometimes, we get hit over the head, we get unexpected purchases, we get unexpected things that happen in our life, and we have to carry a balance. So when you can breathe for 15 months until you get back on your feet, it's huge, So, I'm glad you mentioned that part about the 0%, because that was one of the reasons why I recommended the card also on my last video, because of that. Especially at this time of the year, you need to be able to have a little bit of breathing room with all the expenses that are going to come down.
For sure, I was going to say, it's that time of year where it's never too soon to start Christmas shopping. So that's definitely a benefit also.
All right. So we're going to go to the third card now.
All right.
And let's just see if we could test people out there.
Uh-huh.
So he started his business. He's got, it's really popping now. So what do you think I suggested? I suggested you get
the Business Plus card, the Blue Business Plus card. So for me, this one really is for all business expenses, whether we do merchandise. We connect this card to the website, so that way when we're trying to fulfill orders, it immediately goes into this one. This is also under my name, so it also benefits me in that way as well. But really, it's just, let's say we're going to a sporting event. This is the card that I use for that. If we're going on a business, just let's say dinner, this is the card that we use for that as well. Anything that is in the realm of pick a side, that is sports related, this is the card that I use.
So that's Pick a Side's.
This is Pick a Side's card, correct?
And that's their
correct. Anything that does not have to do with Pick a Side, this card does not get used.
Okay, why did you decide to do it to separate the two worlds?
So one also for business expenses solely, I wanted to keep that separate from mine, try to keep my expenses where in terms of food, gas, that is my responsibility. Doesn't have to do with the podcast. But if we're going to a sporting event, if we are trying to buy merchandise to continue to restock our brand, anything that has to do with our brand, I want to make sure that has its own entity, that gets its own credit line as opposed to my own.
Now, he didn't know I was going to ask this, but maybe 4 months ago, one of the reasons why you opened this card was because when you were placing an order.
Exactly.
Tell them what happened.
Which is exactly why I mentioned the merchandise in the first place, because a big problem of ours was that we were running our business through a debit card. And when it got to that point where orders are coming in, we ran out of money in the line because we're obviously getting that in return. At the time, it was a one-way transaction until we got the opposite end of the return from the purchase itself. But that website that we were working with took money from us until the order was fulfilled. Then we would get our money. So when that was happening, the account got drained. We couldn't fulfill all the orders. So it was a very immediate process of, this can't happen again. Credit Card Connection, I need your help. Do me a favor. What is the best card that my business can benefit from?
I appreciate the compliment.
Of course.
But it seemed when he brought that up to me a couple of months ago, it was that the debit card was like kind of like when you go to a gas station and you use a debit card to pay for gas. Yep. They put a hold on it until that, the days come over, everything's fulfilled, and then they release it.
Yep.
That was your issue, right?
Correct.
So it formed some sort of bottleneck almost, where it wasn't free flowing. And the discussions we had led to you to apply for the card.
I had to.
Has there been any issue since you opened it up? Have you had any?
Not at all. So, as a lot of you guys know, NFL Sunday Ticket, they're partnered with YouTube TV. That was one of those. That was one of our first expenses that we put on that card. So when I go and inevitably we do our tax at the end of the season, we are allowed to write that off because that is a business expense. We also went to a sporting event. That is a part of Pick a Side. We went to the Giants-Seahawks game. That was a business expense. But no issues. Like you said, this one's also 0% annual fee. To me, this one has been very beneficial for the business as a whole.
And did you use this when you went to your event in, was it Vegas?
Vegas, no. So at the time, we didn't have this card yet. That's where I was using my American Express, but then that was beneficial because we're going out, we're still going to sporting events. When it comes to my taxes alone, of course, I can still use that as it was another business expense, but on my end, where this one is strictly the business will have all those expenses taken care of.
Okay. So you see at 24, how quickly things change, how quickly you grow, how quickly your life changes, right? And then you have your financial situation changes almost immediately. So right now, what card were you thinking of applying to next and why? Or do you have questions on what you should apply to?
So honestly, that would be might be the way that we go here, because I don't like to claim to be this credit savant. That's really not it. If I have questions, I always say that's one of my biggest positives. So yeah, absolutely. What is the card that you would suggest? Because right now, I feel with the American Express, every day, was it Blue Cash, correct?
Yes.
That one has just been a great safety net for me, where if I need a couple extra for a bigger purchase, I can put it there and continue to build my credit. As of right now, I feel great with this one. But if you're telling me that there's another card, I'd love to know.
So I think if there was a business card, as for your podcast, even though I kind of...
to upgrade to the gold and
and that was a problem I had in my last... I'm not going to lie, the gold business card from American Express, great card in theory. They made some big changes to it. For you guys, especially since you spend a lot of money on equipment and you're constantly upgrading and changing and, and even your online expenses that you have in terms of servers or in terms of software or whatever, I would still say that is probably the most solid card.
Okay.
The annual fee is going to go from $295 to $375. So for me, as an individual, it's hard for me to swallow that one, right? But as a group, if it's your the four of you doing it together, it's an easier pill to swallow because of
Understood.
the expense,
And
right?
it's cut 4 ways.
And it's cut, right?
Right.
So I think that would probably be the next logical step, would be the business gold. Because to be honest with you, the business green is trash. Just there's nothing to it. You get, I think, 2 times membership rewards if you use it to travel on Amex Travel. That means 0 to me, right? So I think getting the American Express Gold Business Card is the move.
Okay.
There might be another one in terms of when you get a little further down, another year or two, it's a little even higher. But the American Express Platinum, and the reason is because of the ability it gives you for travel. And since you guys are doing a lot more travel and these meetups across the country, that's going to give you more in terms of the ability to earn those massive points for flights, and the American Express Business Platinum card gives you 35% back if you buy them through the portal.
Okay.
So, and all the protections. You also get credit from Dell, which is huge. So if you're buying equipment, computer equipment and stuff like that, that's the next logical step. But, if you go even to the other side, and that's where I'm going to lead you next. If you wanted a low or no annual fee card, Chase kills it. The Ink Business Cash, the Ink Business Unlimited. The Unlimited gives you 1.5% cash back on all your purchases. And the Ink Cash gives you a lot of cash back if you're buying stuff from office supply stores, whatever money you spend on internet or phone, cable, things like that, which you guys all need to use, obviously,
We
right?
actually just upgraded our server right now, so it's pretty ironic you say that.
So that's one that I would say for no annual fee, and it gives you a year with interest free.
Okay.
So similar to the Blue Business Plus card, you can't beat it, and they usually come in at a very high credit limit that they start you with.
Okay.
I'm just finishing up, as I mentioned in my last video, for the Ink Sapphire Preferred, and that's a phenomenal card. That has an $8,000 spend to get the point, but the benefits mimic the Chase Sapphire Preferred.
Okay.
So you'll get a lot more travel benefits. You're going to get a lot more perks in terms of that. But the Chase Ink cards are solid cards. So if we want to stay in the ecosystem of American Express for the next year or so, we have things that we can upgrade to.
Okay.
You could, now, some people might say, okay, you could product change from the Blue Business Plus to the Gold, but then you don't get those points.
Yeah.
You don't get the membership reward points, and then that's just, to me, a big L, because part of the thing of getting these new subs and stuff like that is to get the points. Yeah, so you can use it further down. Or so that when you get to the Platinum, let's say, you can upgrade yourself to better hotels when you stay in Vegas or whatever, because it's expensive.
Yeah. Is that also the that you can get the upgrade when you're at the airport, that you're allowed to get into those?
So the lounge, the lounge, yes. And
it's a big deal. That's a big deal.
So I just added Andy, my nephew Charles, his brother, his sister Victoria, to the Platinum card for certain benefits, right? To start up even at the beginning with TSA pre-check and global entry and stuff like that. Because I want them to be able to see the next steps as you go up the food chain of credit cards. You're starting here, and you're just going to keep working your way up. But like we always discuss when we're either watching the games, like we did this past Sunday when my Cowboys got spanked. R.I.P.
Better days to come.
Yeah, thank you.
Better days to come.
we know we bring these things up, like life comes up in our conversations while we're watching games, and finance is a huge part of us growing up and
life. That's it.
So I think the next logical one, and we'll do a follow-up video to it, will be the American Express Business Gold.
Okay.
The limit they're going to give you is going to be different because there's no pre-spending limit. So that's as high as you take it. Then when they see the constant usage of it, then they set you at a limit.
Okay. This one right
now.
Well,
at an unofficial limit.
Gotcha. Okay.
So Andy, I want to thank you for coming out today.
No problem.
Could you please plug the guys and plug the podcast?
Well, I'll say this. Let's give a shout out to the Credit Card Connection. What he gives you guys is very rare. This is excellent information that everyone can benefit from. He's giving you guys a lot of great content that not a lot of people are right now, and he's also doing it in a different language. That's very rare, but very, very quickly. Pick a Side podcast. We do a solid job of covering both basketball and football. If you guys are interested, you guys can tune into that.
And it's
just Pick a Side. Pick a Side.
All right, on YouTube. You can see them on TikTok. You know, it was really an honor and a pleasure for me to have him here. I've been dying to do this with Drew since the beginning. I thank you all for watching. And please, if you have any questions about any of the cards we spoke about today, or any questions that I can, forward on to Andrew, also just check in the description box below so you can see the links to the YouTube and TikTok. Do me a favor, drop, like always, comments below. I appreciate you guys coming out, like always. And until next time.